Today I'm going to be ranking every single episode in regular show season 2 from worst to best. Season 2 is when they really started cooking up on that stove, giving us over double the amount of episodes that we got in season 1, giving us some actual character arcs, giving us some great character moments, so many comedic moments, great fights, great villains, all of this great stuff that makes me honestly stiff with nostalgia. I love this show so much, and that's why I'm looking at every single season to give every single episode plenty of time to shine in an in-depth review, and at the end of this 9-part series, I'm going to smash all of these videos together and rank every single episode side by side, and you don't want to miss it. And I am almost at 10,000 subscribers, so you might as well lift that arm up, press that button, and subscribe for more regular show, adventure time, cartoon, movie, gaming, all of this great stuff. I got so much stuff cooking, and you don't want to miss it, so you might as well be along for the ride and subscribe. So without further ado, let's rank every single episode in regular show season 2. And coming in at number 28, my least favorite episode in all of season 2 has to be the episode Do Me a Solid. And don't get me wrong, this episode has its moments that are genuinely funny, but it's mainly just Rigby being a dick the entire time, and I just can't get behind it. I just don't like it because he's just such a asshole for the entire episode that it just puts me off a little bit. The episode is all about solids, you know, do me a solid, bro, you know, cheese these nachos, you know, wipe my hands, do whatever I need for me, and I'll owe you a solid back.
Cheese these nachos.
That's the entire episode, and that's what Mordecai and Rigby are doing to each other, and Mordecai really wants to go on a date with Margaret, but the only way that he could achieve this is if he goes on a double date because Eileen asked Rigby out on a date, and Rigby just does not want to do this by any means, so he says that he will help Mordecai out go on this double date in exchange for 10 solids. Okay, yeah, that's whatever. I mean, that's a lot of solids. That's pretty crazy, but I mean, you'd think like, oh, I really want to help my bro out with this date and like help him out, be a good wingman, but no, he just tries to make Mordecai look like the worst person on earth for the entire episode, and I feel so bad for Mordecai. Mordecai has to ruin Margaret's shot in golf.
Ah! Hey.
He has to try a taco and then has to spit it all over Margaret. He has to make a farting noise and fart in front of Margaret at a movie theater.
Take the heat for what? Sorry. Sorry, everybody.
He has to take a literal crap in front of Margaret on the floor at the end of the episode. Because Rigby has to suggest the most unholy thing imaginable, and it's so bad. Why do you want to make your friend look like this in front of the woman that he has clearly been in love with for so long, Rigby? I understand you don't like Eileen at this point, but dude, you're just gonna ruin this guy's entire life, and he puts it on tape? Yes, he records Mordecai taking a shit on the floor. Really? That is just so horrendous. It's so horrible, and I just can't believe that he went through with all of that. Rigby is horrendous in this entire episode. The main highlight of this episode is actually Eileen, who is just a very sweet, very nice person, and is clearly just trying to make the best of all of this.
Rigby, I was wondering, do you like miniature golf? Me too! You know, in an ironic way.
Mordecai's just out here trying to get with Margaret, and Eileen is just genuinely being a good person. The only weird thing she does in the episode is, like, lay sea turtle eggs. That was really weird.
Look at me! I just laid sea turtle eggs, and now I'm gonna swim out to sea. Although many of my hatchlings won't live to adulthood.
But other than that, she's just being super nice, throwing confetti on Rigby, being nice to Rigby, and Rigby is just being the biggest asshole to Eileen, to Mordecai, to Margaret, to everybody for the entire episode, and I feel like that's why I dislike it so much. It just feels even more out of character for him, because I get it, Rigby's a baby, he doesn't like doing things, but why are you going to try and ruin your friend's entire life over something so trivial? I don't get it, and I feel like that's why it's the bottom of the barrel for me. And coming in at number 27 is the episode See You There, and I don't really have a lot to rant about in this episode. I honestly think it's pretty decent, but compared to a lot of episodes on this list, it's just very average. It's not one that I will seek out and just find very memorable all the time, because just not a lot of interesting stuff happens in it, but it's kind of the start of Muscle Man's squealing rampages, which I do actually find pretty funny. The episode's all about how Mordecai and Rigby accidentally spill some soda on Muscle Man, and it is very clearly an accident. He did not mean to do this, and Muscle Man just starts crashing out just violently, freaking out so bad, and it's just so funny.
Quit whining! Here's another soda, you big baby. Uh-oh.
I love every time Muscle Man crashes out like this. It's just so good. And this leads to one of the most expensive, elaborate pranks you could ever imagine that Muscle Man is going to do to Mordecai and Rigby in one single day. I don't know how this even happened. They literally spill soda on him the day before, and then the day after, he is planning one of the biggest ragers, the biggest parties that the park has ever seen. I don't get it. I don't know how he puts all of this together. He even bails Lo-Fi Ghost out of jail just in this short span of time. How much money did he have saved to just do this to Mordecai and Rigby? I don't get it. But Muscle Man is throwing this party, and he doesn't invite Mordecai and Rigby because he knows if he doesn't invite them, then they'll want to go super bad.
It's called reverse psychology, babies!
And this works very well because Mordecai and Rigby just cannot handle the fact that they're not invited, and they're willing to go to great lengths to get into this party. And this eventually leads to them standing outside because the bouncer rejected them, and they just can't get in, they can't do anything until Lo-Fi Ghost comes out of the tent, and he's all like, I could turn you into ghosts so you guys can get in. And they sneak into the party, they're in there, they're having a great time, but until High Five Ghost dad shows up, and he's like, what are you doing? Why did you turn them into ghosts? We actually get High Five Ghost saying a couple of lines here, like actual High Five Ghost talking. How rare is that in this series? God, I love it. It's so great when he actually uses his voice. I love it so much. But either way, High Five Ghost tells them that if they don't turn back into humans before midnight, they're going to be ghosts forever. So they have to try and scare someone. That is the only way that they could turn back. And, well, the person that they choose is a chubby green man named Muscle Man. And so they're hiding in the bathroom, just waiting for Muscle Man to come in. They scare him, and you think, oh, they're going to turn back to humans now. No, Muscle Man just starts having a heart attack.
What's he doing?
From one little jump scare at the age of what? He's probably like 24. Come on, man. He starts having a heart attack, freaking out. Everyone's like, no. And then Muscle Man dies. And then we never see him ever again in the entire series. And it's really tragic, really sad.
Got you, dudes.
And, you know, I wish they did a lot more with his character, but then he comes back to life, so they actually did do a lot more with his character. Muscle Man is alive. It was all a prank. It was all just a silly little joke, all because of the soda being spilled in his face. Talk about overboard, man. Like, it wasn't even on purpose. It wasn't even like they were pranking you. It wasn't even their goal. But either way, Muscle Man is just laughing. He's like, I got you dudes. Got you dudes. And he goes over and just starts munching on some food and actually starts choking. And Mordecai performs the Heimlich, saves him. Boom. They're best buddies again. And this episode is fine, honestly. Overall, pretty good. It's just when I think about episodes that I want to go back and rewatch or I have a lot of memorable moments about, this one is just not at the top of my list for really any of that. The only moment that I genuinely can think about all the time is Muscle Man tweaking and just crashing out and just driving that table into the wall and squealing. That is really the most memorable part of this entire episode. Everything else is just not horrible, but not like the best regular show you could possibly get. Coming in at number 26 is the episode It's Time, and this episode does an amazing job at making both of its main characters, Mordecai and Rigby, extremely unlikable. Rigby is insufferable for this entire episode. He's a dick and he's an asshole. Mordecai is jealous and overreacting the entire time, and either of them, you could argue, were horrible in this episode, and that's why it ranks so low on the list. It opens with them in the coffee shop, and Mordecai really wants to ask Margaret out on a date. He bought movie tickets for it. He's super excited. A trailer plays on the TV showing Zombie Dinner Party, and Rigby just pulls it out. Bam! 2 tickets to Zombie Dinner Party. Except you'd think, oh, well, Mordecai is already going to ask out Margaret. He's had this plan for a while. He already bought the tickets. So Rigby would be all like, oh, well, I guess we didn't correlate this at all, and like, this surprise didn't work out. I could go refund these, and we could go another day, and that would be super awesome, and it would all work out. No, he starts trying to rizz up Margaret at all costs.
I got it.
Hey, Margaret. Briefs or boxes?
You're so funny, Rigby.
Just making her laugh, rizzing her up constantly, eventually asking her out, all while Mordecai is just getting progressively more and more jealous, and Rigby just wants him to admit that he's jealous, and I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't, Mordecai. I mean, it's pretty obvious why you would be jealous that your best friend is trying to get with the one girl that you've liked for forever, and even she knows you like her, and Rigby knows you like her, but Rigby's still gonna go for her anyway? What am I supposed to enjoy about this? It's just a character suffering and another character being an asshole, and then it all culminates when Rigby finally asks her out, and then for the rest of the episode, he's just bragging about it. 2 hours till my date, 30 minutes till my date, 5 minutes till my date.
But it's doing better than you did with Margaret. Oh, 3 hours till my date!
Mordecai, you're a loser, you're a chum, you're a bum. And yeah, that's the entire thing until Mordecai eventually takes all the clocks in the house, hides them from Rigby so Rigby can't possibly know what time his date's at, and it eventually leads to Mordecai shoving all of the clocks in the microwave, microwaving them, and this teleports them to Father Time, and they're on this journey riding on top of the microwave, and Rigby just shoves Mordecai very angrily, saying, I just wanted to see the movie with my bro. And I still don't get that logic. Like, the timing just didn't work out, dude. Deal with it. And then Mordecai in retaliation shoves him all the way off the microwave, and it kills Rigby.
But no, he exists!
I'll kill you! Rigby!
Rigby dies right there. And this is probably one of the most controversial moments in all of regular show because a lot of people hate Mordecai for it. Personally, I understand where Mordecai is coming from. You had this guy all day that was being insufferable, being an asshole, stole the girl that you liked, and then Rigby shoves him first, which almost pushes him off the microwave. I guarantee you if Rigby was also a 6-foot-tall blue jay, he probably would have shoved Mordecai off to his death too. But then again, people also argue in Rigby's favor because Mordecai shouldn't have killed Rigby. But I mean, Rigby was kind of asking for it, so I don't know. I'm not really torn in this. I'm more on Mordecai's side because I don't think his intention was to kill Rigby. He didn't possibly know what would have happened. But either way, both are super unenjoyable for the entire thing. Mordecai eventually gets to Father Time and he's all like, can you give me a do-over so that I could save him? And they go back to the coffee shop and they go to zombie dinner party. And I don't even agree with the ending. I think Mordecai should have just been allowed to try and ask Margaret on a date. Like, it just didn't work out. You both bought tickets and you both didn't know about it. I don't get it. And that's why I rank it so low. There are a lot of funny moments. All of the shenanigans are actually pretty funny. That's why I rank it above the other two. But it doesn't change the fact that both of the characters are really unlikable for the entire thing. At 25 is the episode Muscle Woman. And in this episode, Starla breaks up with Muscle Man. And Muscle Man is just absolutely heartbroken. And one of the best parts of this entire episode is just Muscle Man crying in the shower. It's just so funny. It's such a funny visual to see this guy that is usually like, woo, 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 to just see him crying in the shower. Just constantly, it's just so funny. He's just crying the entire episode. So it's up to Mordecai, Rigby, and High Five Ghost to go to Starla and try to get her back with Muscle Man because they're sick of doing all of Muscle Man's work because Muscle Man is just slacking off because he's just too busy being a crybaby about it. So they go and find Starla, which leads to another hilarious moment. I love Starla's intro so much, just Rigby bumping into her.
Korean girl. Huh?
And we just get a pan up of Starla, this beast of a woman, who I honestly hate so much. Starla is probably my least favorite character in the entire show. She's just so annoying. And this episode highlights it, but in an amazing way. Mordecai ends up going out with Starla because Starla falls in love with Mordecai because Mordecai is giving a speech about love. And Starla falls in love with him. They go on a bunch of dates, and Mordecai is just having the worst time of his life. And then eventually Starla tries to kiss Mordecai, kisses him, and Mordecai's like, you're disgusting. Get away from me, you big old piggy.
And your lip. I'll get it off.
Oh, get off of me!
What's wrong, Dumpling?
I'll tell you what's wrong. I don't like you.
And dumps her right there. And then we get this awesome chase scene between Starla chasing them all the way back to the park because they have to run away because Starla's going to murder them for even attempting to break up with her.
Come on! Come on! Come on!
She just can't have that. She needs all of that big blue jay. She can't take it. We get this awesome chase scene and they eventually end up back at the house. And this is when Muscle Man comes back and he's all like, Starla, I love you, girl. My name's Mitch and I love you. We get to learn that his name is Mitch Sorenstein. That was a big revelation at the time. Muscle Man is Mitch. I love you, Mitch. Mitch gives a heartfelt speech about his feelings, about how he loves Starla. They're back together, and they just start profusely making out right there and then, and that's the entire episode. This episode ranks a little bit higher because, I mean, there are a lot more things that I like about it compared to the other episodes. Muscle Man crying, pretty funny. Starla's introduction, pretty funny, and Starla's chase scene was also pretty dang good. Everything else is just pretty mid, though. It's just pretty average for a regular show episode. It's not an episode that I go, oh, I need to watch that one again right now. That's why it's ranking at number 25. At 24 is the episode Party P, and when Mordecai and Rigby go up into the attic and they find these really old-timey sodas, they decide that they're going to host the biggest party they could ever imagine. The only issue is that they suck at throwing parties and nobody shows up, nobody wants to party because they just throw a really lame party. And I feel like I ranked this episode a little bit lower is because just the start of the episode, all the way up until like the 7-minute mark when Party P shows up, is just so slow. It's all about them preparing for the party, trying to have a party, and Muscle Man is just sitting there dogging on them the the entire time because they're not throwing a good party. Everyone's disappointed in them, and that's the entire first 6 minutes. It's just not a lot of stuff happening. Party Pete eventually gets there, and even when Party Pete gets there, I don't like him very much. He's okay. He's kind of funny. He's able to make them party with only like $20 and they get like 5 minutes of partying. He turns it up for a little bit, and then they start giving him these old-timey sodas, and that turns him up. Makes him start going crazy, makes him hyped, makes him a party animal. And it brings everybody to the party. Everyone starts partying. It turns up. It's a party to the maximum. Benson sees this and starts rushing over to the park because he's very angry. But in the meantime, Party Pete is just having a great time, having an amazing party. And I feel like I ranked this episode a little bit higher than the other ones, mainly just because of this awesome ending where Party Pete is just turning it all the way up, partying so much, and they know that Benson is coming and they have to be able to stop it. So they have to just keep force feeding Party Pete sodas until he eventually explodes.
Party Pete's gonna blow! Hit the deck!
That was honestly a pretty epic ending, and it's what makes it higher on this list. Everything else in the episode just had a really slow build-up, and it was all building up to this one moment, and the ending makes up for it a lot. I thought it was really cool, but Party Pete was just also lacking for me until the ending where he just starts becoming a party animal, and that's the only thing that I really liked about it, so it's a pretty average episode. 23 is the episode Dizzy, and this episode is still really funny for a ranking so low on the list. It's all about Pops having to give a big speech at a ribbon-cutting ceremony, and he's super nervous about it, so Mordecai and Rigby have to help him overcome his fears and figure out a way for him to not be nervous. And one of the best ways that they try to help him with this, one of the funniest scenes in the entire episode, is when they tell Pops to pretend that everybody's naked, and he just looks down, stares at Mordecai and Rigby's crotches because they are naked, and then he's just like, I don't like this.
Hey, I know. Why don't you just picture everybody naked?
Naked?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't like doing this.
And just gets super scared. I thought that that was hilarious and such a funny gag. I actually like it when they draw attention to the fact that Mordecai and Rigby are naked and they chose to become naked. It's not just something that is normal. They're actually out of the norm for doing that, which is very weird. I don't understand nudity in the show, but either way, Pops is very afraid. And so they're all like, okay, Pops, well, what if you try spitting? And this actually starts working. He just starts spinning left and right, spinning over and over and over again. And he's like, I'm not nervous. I'm not nervous.
I'm not nervous. I'm not nervous. I'm not nervous. I'm not nervous. I'm not nervous.
He goes to every single place that he's already been to and is able to just tell everybody that he's not nervous, and it's so funny. And he eventually spins way too much, and this sends him into the dizzy world. He meets Yigbeer and Ystrom, which are just super fancy top hat wearing versions of Mordecai and Rigby, and I think they're so funny to look at. I love their designs so much.
Sorry about that. I am Ice Drum.
And I, Igbeer.
Would you like some ice cream?
And in Dizzy World, there are no speeches here. Speeches are outlawed. So Pops loves this world, you know? If he doesn't have to give a speech here, he's down with it. He likes it. Mordecai and Skips have to go in there trying to save Pops. They go in there, and they're looking for him, and they eventually find him, and Pops is all like, I don't want to go back with you. I just don't. It's not a jolly good show out there. I just want to be in here and not give any speeches. And while he's saying all this, he ends up actually giving a speech, and they learn that if Pops is not facing the crowd, he's able to give a awesome speech. And so they pull Pops out of there after a very big fight against Igbeer and Ystrom, who are very mad that Pops gave a speech and try to literally eat him.
Broken the law.
No speeches!
Yeah, Yigbeer and Ystrom are pretty evil looking and pretty scary looking when they're angry. I think they're funny when they're just top hat fancy looking guys, though. I like them a lot. And either way, they get out of the Dizzy World and they find Rigby has already drawn all over Pops' head, so they might as well just keep it rolling. And Pops gets a drawn face on the back of his head, turns away from the crowd, and is able to give a speech which turns out to be just be really short, like literally like about 8 words long. Not long at all. Not even worth going through all of this effort. I can't believe he couldn't say all of this. Pretty funny episode. It's got a lot of good moments that I like to remember and think fondly on. It's just there are some way better episodes in season 2, and that's why it ranks a bit lower on the list. At 22 is the episode First Day, and this is a great episode to show what Mordecai and Rigby's first day on the job was, their first day living at the house, their introduction to the house, the tour of their room, just how they celebrate with a soda party night, just having a great time, so happy to finally have a place to stay, a place to work, a place to make money. And then we cut to the morning where they're just a little bit sad because they don't have any furniture. And that is basically what the entire episode is going to be about. They go down into the kitchen, they're having a little bit of breakfast, and they manage to make them having breakfast one of the funniest scenes in the entire show.
Yeah, I guess.
You want some milk?
Yeah. Hey! Please don't eat up on the table like that.
Rigby stuffing his face with cereal and then Mordecai pouring the milk into his mouth. Peak regular show right there. But they see Pops taking out a chair, his chair that he doesn't want anymore. So Mordecai and Rigby both want this chair.
Dude, it sounds like old man pants.
But even though they're both staying in the same room and could honestly share this chair, they're not going to have that. And they're going to turn rock, paper, scissors into one of the funniest episodes of regular show that I have ever seen. They start fighting over the chair. They really need this chair. They want it so bad, even though it is the most uncomfortable chair that they have ever sat in.
Oh, yeah.
What? What's wrong?
This is the most uncomfortable chair I've ever sat in.
According to them, it is just not comfortable at all, but they both still want it. And they decided the best way to go about this is to play rock, paper, scissors.
Baby!
And they just keep on tying over and over and over again. And the montage that we get of them tying over and over is just so funny. Pops with the blue eyes, his face of just pure shock and amazement. A crowd is gathering to watch this rock, paper, scissors game. And they eventually get all the way to 99 ties in a row. And what do you think happens on 100?
I take it upon myself to eat your prize.
Rock, paper, scissors god from above decides if they can't figure it out, it's going to take the chair away from them anyway. So it starts sucking the chair away, and they're not going to let this happen, so they have to give it up. They just have to have one more rock, paper, scissors throw, and the chair is split in half, and that's it. That's the entire episode. They made rock, paper, scissors so entertaining, and that's why it earns the number 22 spot. It's just so funny. Great introduction to Mordecai and Rigby's first day at the park. At number 21 is the episode Go Viral, and this is where it starts to hurt my heart just a little bit, because I honestly adore this episode, but there is just banger after banger coming up, and I just have to rank it a little bit lower because, I mean, there's so many good episodes in season 2, and even though this episode is so good, there are just episodes that are better than it. And this episode is truly great. It's all about Mordecai and Rigby going against Muscleman and High Five Ghosts to see who can make the most viral video in 1 week, and the winner gets $20. Yeah, sounds pretty crazy. A lot of dough on the line, and Mordecai and Rigby are struggling really hard to make a good viral video because Muscleman is just destroying them, making hit after hit, using his belly to destroy watermelons. He's just making funny video after funny video. And Mordecai and Rigby just can't compete. So they decide that they're going to make a trampoline jumping trick video because of course that's going to get a lot of hits. I mean, who doesn't want to see someone hit some sick flips on a trampoline? And so they're doing some pretty good stuff, and then they eventually get Pops to come out, and they manage to jump Pops up super high into the air, and they're like, this could be a great idea. We just need to get him to go higher and higher and higher up. So they do the ultimate jump, the ultimate double bounce, boom, send him all the way up really, really high. I love Pops' face here. He's flying all the way up, and he eventually disappears into the sky.
Dude, look how high he's going.
Yeah. He disappears just completely. They have no idea what happened, so they have to go after them using this elaborate like double jump method to go all the way up to follow him into there. And it's actually this place where all viral videos end up to be imprisoned for going too viral. It's super weird. It's guarded by this old granny in a screen who's also the like warden of viral videos, and there's every single viral video here, and Mordecai and Rigby have to break them all out, break Pops out, shut down this entire place, and they have to run away from the viral video lady using like pig hog guy. They have to use all the viral videos to help take her down. It's just so cool. I love it so much.
We're gonna die! Look!
They eventually manage to escape with all the other viral videos, saving the day, and they all fall out of the sky, falling onto Muscle Man, and Muscle Man gets pranked super hard and... Mordecai and Rigby make a 2 million hit video, earning that $20, and submitting themselves as the better viral video creators over Muscle Man. It is just so good. There are so many funny viral videos actually in this. It feels like I'm watching like Vines in 2010. All of those like clips feel like that, especially watching it in 2025. It just all feels so out of place, but that doesn't mean it's not funny. And this episode is just overall very good. At number 20 is the episode Benson Be Gone, yet another amazing episode that unfortunately has to rank low. It's all about Benson getting demoted because Mailer doesn't view him as a good park manager, and he puts Susan in his place, and Susan is just the embodiment of controlling demon-like features, and we hate Susan. She's evil. We don't like managers like that. We like Benson. But either way, Benson gets demoted and starts hanging out with Mordecai and Rigby, and realizing that, well, slacking off is kind of a lot of fun. He starts playing video games, eating pizza, not doing his job, not raking leaves.
Okay, Benson, you're fired!
And this eventually leads to Benson getting fired because he's sick of it. He doesn't want to rake those leaves. He's done with it. And he views this as a great thing. He's finally a free man. He's free from everything. And I think I like this episode a lot because, I mean, it's just the cracks in Benson's character. Because, I mean, it's season 2. Benson's still supposed to be that evil park manager guy that we're not supposed to like until, like, season 3 when we actually start to get to see his other side. But this is an episode that shows just a smidge of cracks in his character, showing who he truly is and that he can be cool sometimes. And I love Benson overall. I love every single episode that has Benson in it, but here we finally see some cracks of him being cool. And he eventually runs into Leon, the coolest slacker that there ever is. No job, no family, nothing to do but chillax, be his own boss, and do nothing meaningful with his life, because Leon believes in Utopia, baby.
I'm Leon, but my friends call me Yoop. That's short for Utopia. 'Cause I'm living the dream, man.
That's all you need. Benson kind of realizes his mistake here. He doesn't want to turn out like Leon, so he goes to get his old job back, and Susan is turning everyone into Susan, like not even figuratively, like literally turning every single person there into Susan, because the more they do jobs that are like her, the more they do it her way, the more they start to get blonde hair, to get her suit, to physically change their faces into her, and she's turned everybody into Susan, and Benson starts getting everybody to slack off, to help them become themselves, to help them enjoy their lives a little bit, and this causes Susan to like snap her own neck and fly backwards because she's apparently a demon from hell. And she just goes into this giant crater and emerges from it as a giant version of Susan, a giant red version, and oh god. What are they gonna do? Well, it's up to Benson to steal the limo. He's gonna take out Susan because Mr. Maylard realizes his mistake, gives Benson his job back. Benson is like, I'm gonna take this out. And that's when Leon shows up again in the limo and pushes Benson out and is like, Utopia, baby. And
Now blow this slacker wonderland!
Utopia.
takes out Susan's heels, and Susan falls back into the pit and dies immediately. And this episode is really solid. All of the stuff with Benson being a slacker is super funny. We get an actual villain here, Susan, who is kind of intimidating and is able to control people and take over their bodies and just do really weird things to them and turns into a demon monster, which was honestly pretty epic. It ranks pretty low on the list though, just because there are way better episodes than this, way more funny episodes, way better villains, way better fights, but it's overall a very good episode. At number 19 is the episode Appreciation Day, and I don't know why Mordecai and Rigby would even expect appreciation plaques, but when Benson is going around handing them all out to every single member of the park except Mordecai and Rigby, their hearts are just broken, shattered, because they don't do their jobs at all and they slack off all the time, but they deserve to be appreciated. And this leads to them stealing the park book of records, a book that holds all of the notes about every single park member and has history in it, has everything in it. And Mordecai and Rigby decide that they're going to steal it, change every single thing about this book, and write themselves looking to be like superheroes, like these gods of the park. They're going around helping everybody. They're waxing the floors, making blueberry pancakes. They're fighting Snowballs the ice monster. Yeah, Snowballs the ice monster is written into the story. What could possibly go wrong? They wake up the next morning after they put the book back, and guess what? Blueberry pancakes. Benson comes down and he's like, whoa, are you guys making me pancakes? And yeah, they just roll with it. They are. Benson's like, you know I appreciate that, dog. You know I appreciate that.
Appreciate that. You know I do. Yeah.
And did you wax the floors? Everything from the book is turning out to be real, and now Mordecai and Rigby are portrayed as guys that Benson appreciates. So they're doing some hard work, they're doing some nice things, they're really good guys, and then all of a sudden there's a giant winter storm that knocks out some power lines, and they hit Skips with a golf cart, breaking his leg.
What was that? Skips!
Yeah, things go a little bit chaotic because Rigby decided to write a story about Snowballs the Ice Monster and a blizzard ice storm that overtakes the park. And they hit an electrical wire and it actually summons Snowballs the Ice Monster, who could also breathe fire, and he wreaks chaos over the entire park.
Fire? You made him breathe fire?
And it's up to Mordecai, Rigby, and Skips to get the park book of records from Snowball the Ice Monster, who took it from them, and fix it all, rewrite the story, and write a happy ending. And yeah, Benson's all like, I don't appreciate you guys. Get away from me. I was going to give you plaques, but you guys are idiots, and I hate you. And this episode is just very solid. It just feels like very classic regular show. We got a monster in it. We got a very normal beginning that just slowly devolves into chaos, and it's just a very solid episode. At 18 is the episode Temp Check, and it's very apparent that Rigby is a very lazy raccoon. He doesn't really want to do anything with his life. He just wants to bum around, but he also needs money. So how are you going to be a bum and make money? Well, you're going to hire somebody else to do your work at your minimum wage job and pay them even less than minimum wage to do your job. And yeah, that's the entire premise of this episode. Rigby hires Doug, this guy that's just this like little otter dude. I don't really know even what he is. If somebody could tell me what animal he is down in the comments below, I'd love to hear it. But he hires Doug, this guy that just seems really stand up, like a really nice guy who's just happy to finally get a job working under Rigby of all people, the great Rigby.
Here you go.
Wow, this is the most I've ever been paid.
The great boss that he is. And Doug just starts doing his job, you know, cracking jokes, forming bonds with all the park members, even Mordecai. And Rigby just starts to get a little bit hurt by this for some reason, because Doug is kind of taking Rigby's place, just slowly, progressively. And that's when he notices some very strange things. That Doug is starting to get like raccoon eye bags. He's starting to get a pointy up tail. He's starting to look a lot like Rigby. And Rigby is not a fan of this.
Benson.
No! He does not like it. He eventually confronts Doug about this, and he's like, hey, yo, Doug, hey, what are you doing looking like me? And Doug's like, well, Rigby, I'm more Rigby than you ever were. Transforms physically into Rigby, and they start brawling, two Rigby's fighting, and eventually everybody finds them and they're like, whoa, this is a little bit weird. And we eventually get a showdown where whoever knows the most about Rigby is going to win. I don't even know how Doug had the time to learn all these things about Rigby, but he's doing great in the questions. Doug seems to know everything about Rigby. And we get down to the final question. It's all like, Rigby, what's your biggest fear? Amusement park mascots. And the original Rigby walks away defeated. He's heartbroken. But then Doug goes to give Mordecai a hug as Rigby, and that's when Mordecai's all like, Rigby would never hug me. This is disgusting. Shoves Doug away and is all like, that's Rigby. And Doug gets arrested, and apparently he's been doing this all over the entire country, just taking people's lives, taking their jobs, and just forming a shape-shifting like crime ring. Yeah. Very weird, but overall a very funny episode. It's very good. Just watching Rigby be super suspicious the entire time and Doug slowly turning more and more into Rigby was just really great. It made for a great episode. I know a lot of shows do the whole thing where it's like, oh, this guy looks at me and we have to do the questions thing to find out who's who, but it worked really well for this episode, and I think they did that whole like genre type pretty good, and it was pretty funny, and it turned out super well, and that's why it earns the number. At number 17 is the episode Over the Top, and this episode is a great example for why people don't prank Skips very often, because Skips will lose it, snap, and literally kill you. So this episode is all about two words: Playco, Arm Boy. It opens up with them all just doing some casual arm wrestling, just having a good time at this restaurant. Skips is destroying everyone in arm wrestling because he's just so strong. He's a big, meaty Yeti man. How could you possibly defeat him? And that's until Rigby steps up to the table, puts his arm out, and just BAM! Boom! Beats Skips easily.
Okay, ready, go! Haters gonna hate!
He's extremely confused. They go again. Rigby owns him again, and Skips just can't believe it. His heart is shattered. His spirit is broken. He doesn't understand how he could lose to this tiny little raccoon. He just doesn't get it at all. So Skip starts to lose his mind a little bit. He starts freaking out. He starts working out profusely. He tries to challenge Rigby to a rematch, and when Rigby says no, he just grabs their video game and chucks it into a wall and breaks it. Yeah, he's a little upset here.
No. I said I want a rematch. I'm busy.
Later on in the episode, Skips is found just rummaging through the room by Mordecai, just digging through everything, trying to understand how Rigby could possibly be defeating him in arm wrestling. He doesn't get it. How could he possibly lose to Rigby more than once, more than twice, but 3 times? He doesn't understand. So Mordecai, pities this guy and tells him about Playco Arm Boy, and apparently Rigby has been pranking Skips this entire time using a metal rod arm that you attach to yourself. I don't know how that physically makes you stronger and immune to losing arm wrestling, but it does, and Rigby has been using it on Skips this entire time, so Skips challenges him one more time at that restaurant. We get some classical music in the background as Skips grabs Rigby's arm, rips Playco Arm Boy off, and you think, oh, okay, he's just gonna beat Rigby in the arm wrestling match now, right? He picks Rigby up all the way off the ground and slams him into the table, killing him as everyone's faces slowly go from a smile to just a frown as they watch Skips just implant Rigby into this table through it, and Rigby is dead. We cut to Rigby on his deathbed. Skips is crying. He's like, how could I possibly do this? And this is where the episode just gets really epic. Death shows up and challenges Skips to a arm wrestling match. And if Skips wins, he gets Rigby back. But if Skips loses, his immortal soul is on the line. And Death will kill Skips and take his soul. Skips accepts this challenge. And we get this awesome, just visually stunning arm wrestling match between Death and Skips. It's so cool. The moment is so tense. And eventually Skips is able to power through after almost losing and defeat Death. And it turns out he was using Playco Arm Boy the entire time. Rigby is back. Him and Skips are walking. They're having a good time. Boom. That's the entire episode. And this episode is just really good. It's really comedic. It's a great Skips episode. I love episodes that focus on my main man, Skips. It's just very solid. Has some great moments. A great battle with Death. All of the stuff with Skips crashing out at the beginning is really good. Rigby dying, although you feel bad for Rigby, was also very funny. And it's just a very good episode. At 16 is the episode Night Owl. And this episode also has everything you could possibly need in a regular show episode. We got great comedic scenes because it's all about a contest, okay? Muscle Man, High Five Ghost, Mordecai, and Rigby are all listening on the radio, drinking some sodas, and they hear about this challenge from the Night Owl. And the Night Owl is doing this challenge that if you stay on top of this billboard for the longest amount of time, you will win a vintage Dodge Challenger. So they're like, heck yeah, let's do it. They all go up there, they're gonna split the car, they're hype as hell, and we get this awesome montage of them doing the contest, eliminating all of the other players in extremely unique ways, and it's all so funny. Until the Night Owl tricks all of them, trying to turn them all against each other, and while they're fighting, he eventually pumps liquid nitrogen into their tent and freezes them. For how long, you think? A few days, maybe? No, thousands and thousands of years, so that the Night Owl could become the most famous, most powerful man on the planet, all because this contest just blows up because of how long it's been going on, and it makes Night Owl just this godlike person for some reason. But either way, they all wake up in the future because it ran out of liquid nitrogen, and they're like, whoa, I think the Night Owl must have tricked us or something, dude.
Wait a minute, guys. I think the Night Owl tricked us.
Yeah, I think you're right, bro.
Hey, you! What are you doing up in the exhibit?
So they hotwire the car, they're free, they escape, we get this awesome chase scene where they're running away from all of the security guards, and they eventually run into the Night Owl, and they're able to knock over his big Night Owl body. Yeah, and I can't forget to mention the only reason he is alive is because he's a floating head inside of this giant owl body. Yeah, pretty crazy, but they knock him over, they manage to get to the time machine, escape the future, go back to the first day of the contest, and punch Night Owl in the face for freezing them, and it's just so good. This episode has so many great comedic moments. I love every single aspect of the initial challenge where they're just trying to stay on there the longest. That was so good, and then that chase scene and the revelation that they're in the future at the end was also so good, and it's exactly what I expect from a regular show episode, and that's why it ranks a little bit higher on this list. And coming in at number 15 is the episode More Smarter, and am I going to rank an episode super high on this list? this solely because of one joke in the entire episode that just works so well? Yes. Yes, I am. This episode is all about Rigby trying to become more smart because everybody views him as super dumb, which to be fair, he is, but he's missing out on free burgers, all because he doesn't have a high school diploma, so he figures, okay, well, I mean, I might as well try and get one, but he can't tell basic shapes apart, so he decides, I'm gonna order Brain Max, a juice that when you drink it, you become super smart. Mordecai can't have this, and when he stumbles upon smart Rigby, he can't take it, so he also starts chugging Brain Max, and they both just become super smart and start having this smart off, where they start writing equations everywhere, they're throwing big words at each other, and they start speaking Latin, and just the joke that makes this episode better than a lot of them is just when Benson, Pops, and Skips walk into the kitchen, and they find Mordecai and Rigby, and they've just turned into apes, because Mordecai and Rigby are just too smart to understand them. It's so funny. It's so good. And they realize this and they're like, oh, we gotta become not smart anymore. So they drink Rig Juice to like change themselves back into idiots. And they come back into the normal world. And I just love Muscle Man's reaction to this. He's just like, you guys came in here speaking Spanish or something.
Me and Fives were practicing for a pie eating contest when you two dweebs came in speaking Spanish or something.
Then you drink.
Oh, it's so funny. And then Benson rages at them at the end and he actually sounds like he's going to like snap their necks or something.
If you don't stop goofing off and clean up this graffiti now, I'm gonna tear you limb from limb!
Either way, so good. Even though Mordecai was a jerk for the majority of it, it would probably rank higher if Mordecai wasn't being such an asshole. But overall, a very good episode and a lot of good funny moments throughout, and that's why it earns the number 15 spot. And coming in at number 14 is the episode Skunked, and God, I love this episode. It's just so funny. The episode has the perfect opening with Mordecai and Rigby playing bingo, but the bingo is finding roadkill, and they have to find every single animal in order to complete the roadkill bingo, and they're just picking up animals left and right, all these dead animals, and they eventually stumble upon a skunk. And if they pick up the skunk, bingo! Bingo! Zingo! Yeah, they're going to be able to complete the bingo card and they're going to be able to stop working because they got a bingo. So they're super pumped about it, super hyped. They go to pick up the skunk and it turns out that the guy is alive and can talk and is not just a normal animal and sprays Rigby. And it turns out that this skunk is a very specific kind of skunk. He is a were-skunk. Yeah, a skunk that turns you also into a were-skunk when you get sprayed by his nasty juices. And yeah, Rigby has been sprayed, and so the entire episode is them trying to figure out how to get rid of Rigby's smell, how to change him back, how to free him from this, and just all the scenes that lead up to the climax are just so good, with Rigby slowly like losing his mind. He just turns super angry, he attacks his friends, he attacks Skips.
Well, you know what I think? You don't know nothing! You don't know nothing!
He almost attacks Eileen of all people.
You think this is funny?
Well, I don't think it's funny! This is my life you're laughing at!
Yeah, it's kind of very intimidating and you honestly feel very bad for Rigby here. He eventually goes all the way to find the skunk and figure out what's happening to him because he's slowly becoming more and more skunk, and he finds the skunk and just starts laying into him.
Tell me how to end this! Tell me!
Just right hook, right hook, just asking him how to get freed from this horrible scent, this transformation, and he's all like, it's pineapple juice, but it's too late. Rigby hurries back to the house trying to get some pineapple juice, and it doesn't work at all. The skunk reappears somehow very quickly, and is all like, you're gonna be my friend forever, buddy. My friend forever. You're gonna be my friend forever. That's what the skunk is saying. Until Mordecai shows up and he's all like, Rigby, I found it out. It's tomato paste. And Rigby tries to get to the tomato paste before the transformation is complete. We get this awesome fight between the skunk and Rigby, just beating each other up, throwing each other through tables. The skunk is just stanking all over Rigby, just spraying him. Rigby looks like he's gonna get defeated, and then Mordecai just drives the car through the wall. Oh, how much crazier can this fight scene get? Mordecai somehow flips over the cart on himself. Yeah, it's very weird. The skunk is like, it's too late, he's my friend forever. And he's gonna like, I don't know, curb stomp Mordecai or something. He turns behind him and Rigby's like, and uses a sledgehammer, slams the tomato paste. Boom, Rigby's normal. Boom, the skunk is normal.
Split this.
and it turns out the skunk was just a normal guy who also got turned into a were-skunk, unfortunately, and then I think he might just die right there. I don't know, I'm pretty sure he just dies. Either way, phenomenal episode, so good, such an amazing fight scene, so much amazing tension with Rigby turning into a skunk. I loved every single aspect about it. It is just so good. Peak regular show right here, and it's only 14 on this list. There are still so many good episodes. At number 13 is the episode Peeps, and I like this episode so much because it's just kind of crazy Benson the entire time, and I don't know, I just find that so funny, just how kind of like evil he is in this episode a little bit, but he's also just wanting Mordecai and Rigby to actually do their work, so Mordecai and Rigby are kind of in the wrong. But either way, the way Benson goes about keeping them in check is just kind of creepy. He works with the Peeps company, who give Benson a camera to watch Mordecai and Rigby do their job, but Mordecai and Rigby just want to have staring contests. But with this camera, it's kind of hard, so they have to keep outsmarting all of the cameras. The first way they do it is just kind of ignoring it by putting a piece of paper over it, and then Benson is like, I need to upgrade. So now Mordecai and Rigby have to wear a backpack that has a camera on it and follows them wherever they go and always shows whatever they're doing, and Benson can even talk to them with a radio on it. Yeah. Very creepy, very weird, but either way, they're able to outsmart that version by putting the camera down in front of a video that's washing dishes so that they could have a staring contest instead of washing the dishes. Just do your work and then you can have a staring contest all you want. But either way, Benson can't handle this either, so he upgrades it even more, and there's cameras literally everywhere watching every single person in the park the entire time. Benson is literally going insane. He has hundreds of cameras everywhere watching every single aspect of the entire park, watching Mordecai and Rigby, every single worker. He's just kind of going a little bit crazy, and Mordecai and Rigby can't take it, so they sneak into Benson's office, pour some coffee all over the monitors, and destroy all of them. And I love Benson's crash out here, where he just slams the book, rips out the pages, throws it, and wants to upgrade to the final version of Peeps.
I'm sorry, sir, but that requires a signature on our lifetime contract.
All right, whatever, just make it happen.
Which turns out to just be this giant eyeball who can watch every single person in the park, no matter what they're doing, in the shower, working on a car, like doing work, no matter what it is. Even Benson, Peeps is watching everybody 24/7, 7 days a week, for the rest of their lives. And nobody really likes this. Everybody gets really creeped out by this giant floating green eyeball, and I don't blame them for that. If I had a giant eyeball watching everything I did, I wouldn't really like that either. But they decide that they need to get rid of him. Peeps doesn't like this because he's like, you signed the contract, so they challenge Peeps to a staring contest. So it's going to be Mordecai versus Peeps. And this is probably the most hype staring contest I've ever seen in any show ever. I didn't even think that there could be a hype staring contest, but they made it that way.
Stare!
Mordecai and Peeps are just going at it for hours and hours and hours until Peeps starts cheating and using other eyes to like rub his eye and make him feel better. He starts summoning like hundreds of other eyes to cover his eye so he'll never blink. And then Rigby's all like, you cheated. You're a cheater, and starts blasting him with lasers, and it's so cool. And Mordecai's about to win, and they just blast that final laser into Peeps, and Peeps is on fire, and he just gets like taken away by an ambulance.
Man.
It's amazing. It's great. And then I just really love the last bit of the episode where it's just a joke that Mordecai can't close his eyes anymore and he has to go to the hospital. Peak episode. It's so funny. Benson is so good in it, even though he's kind of evil. Peeps is a great villain. Mordecai and Rigby slacking off was really funny. All the ways they tried to avoid Benson was so good. It's just such a very solid episode, and I love it so much. At 12 is the episode Hello Governor, and in this episode Mordecai and Rigby watch a scary movie about a British taxi that eats people. Mordecai warns Rigby, but Rigby gets super scared by it because he's just terrified of this British taxi now. He's having nightmares about it. He's seeing it everywhere he goes, in the bathroom. He goes to a cricket game of all things where there's a bunch of British people, and he just gets terrified because they're all saying Hello Governor.
Governor?
Hello, Governor.
Hello, Governor. Hello, Governor. Hello, Governor.
Even though he's like hallucinating the entire thing and only one of them walks up to him. Either way, Rigby is terrified of British taxis throughout the entire episode, and it's so funny watching him be terrified. And eventually Pops is all like, oh, I can help, I have a taxi, I can use it right now, jolly good show. I love Pops so much. He's just so funny. He's so good for this. Why would you think British is brownish? And it's yellow. It's a yellow taxi.
Heck, Pops, I thought you said you had a British taxi.
A British taxi? Oh, I thought you said a brownish taxi.
But that taxi's yellow.
yellow. My taxi's no coward, I guarantee you that.
Either way, they go for a drive. Rigby is just sus the entire time, and he eventually sees Hello Governor, the British taxi, following them. And then it's revealed when they run out of the gas in the middle of the woods that Hello Governor is actually following them, chasing them down. They have to run for their lives.
Hello, Governor.
Holy crap, it's real!
And Rigby gets cornered and just starts beating the car up mercilessly, taking control of his fear and just beating him to death. And he defeats the British taxi until it's revealed that Rigby was just hallucinating the entire thing, and it was actually just a guy from the movie store that was trying to get Rigby because the film was overdue.
Did.
You?
Yeah, what's your problem?
How is he able to move this fast, and why is Rigby having all these hallucination problems? But either way, because Rigby was able to fight the man in the car suit, he gets over his fear and has a great dream about him being a tough guy. Overall, all of Rigby's reactions make this episode what it is, and just Rigby overreacting and hallucinating to everything just make for a very solid and entertaining episode of Regular Show. And number 11 is the episode Jinx, and you could probably guess that this episode is going to be about somebody getting Jinx, and in this case, it's going to be Rigby. When Mordecai and Rigby see a quarter on the ground, they both say the same thing at the same time, and Mordecai jinxes Rigby. And you know what that means. If you get jinxed, you're gonna get punched.
Hey!
I said,
Mordecai turns this into just basically from a, silly jinxing game, a funny game, into one of the most abusing things I've ever seen. He just follows Rigby around everywhere, punching him every second he can, trying to force Rigby to talk by making him go outside to see a solar eclipse.
That's amazing.
Giving him a fake gift that is actually just a punch in a box. Everything he could possibly do to punch Rigby, he is doing. And even though watching Rigby get abused is pretty bad and it sucks, it doesn't mean that it's not funny. Watching a little raccoon get punched by a giant blue jay for 6 minutes, pretty dang solid. But Rigby has to figure out a way to get unjinxed, and he tries everything he possibly can. He runs up to Benson, and this is one of the funniest parts of this entire episode, where he just starts hucking trash at him, and Benson says his name twice, but Rigby throws more trash at him, and Benson just loses it, starts raging out, and just starts slamming the ground, kicking trash cans. It's so funny. He eventually finds High Five Ghost and tries to ask High Five Ghost to unjinx him, and High Five Ghost can't because, he's also jinxed by Muscle Man, and Rigby frees High Five Ghost, but then High Five Ghost just runs away happy as can be. Yeah. He couldn't help Rigby there, and so Rigby has to take matters into his own hands, and he goes into the bathroom and writes his name on a mirror doing like a Bloody Mary thing, and that's when Yigbeer appears. Yigbeer jumps through the mirror and just is this evil version of Rigby, super buff, purple eyes, and is just trying to kill everything, trying to slice everything, trying to turn everything into a weird werewolf demon thing. And yeah, very suspenseful ending to this episode where it's just going around, turning everybody into a monster at the park. It jumps on Muscle Man, it jumps on all of these people, and it's just so good. And they have to eventually lead it back to the bathroom and say its name in reverse to get it to go back into the mirror. And this is such a great episode. The beginning of it is just so funny with all the Jinx stuff with Rigby, and then the ending is amazing with all the tension from the fight with this giant werewolf Yigbeer. Such a solid episode. It has everything you need in a Regular Show episode. At number 10 is the episode My Mom, and it's the first episode that is truly centered all around Muscle Man.
I love this tasty lick.
And we actually get some developments for his character, and it is just so funny. As a kid, found it way less funny. As an adult, it is so funny because I can appreciate every single My Mom joke, and the entire plot of the episode is just to highlight that the My Mom joke isn't actually funny and that nobody is supposed to find it funny, but the joke is that it's so funny to every single other person except Mordecai and Rigby. But when you're like me and you've been watching this show for a decade and you find My Mom jokes hilarious, this episode is just peak.
You know who I feel sorry for? My mom!
Muscle Man just going around telling My Mom jokes to every single person, and they're all just cracking up laughing, and I'm cracking up laughing with them. And you actually get to learn that Muscle Man is a really cool guy, but the only thing that Mordecai doesn't like about him is the stupid My Mom jokes. He just can't handle it. But they go around doing all this awesome stuff, bonding, slacking off, having a good time, and they become actual buddies until Mordecai just can't take it, and he starts taking the joke that Muscle Man has made his own and starts actually making fun of Muscle Man's mom. Like, you know who else is really fat? Your mom.
Ankles, your mom.
You know who else can't tell you?
Are you making fun of my mom?
And Muscle Man can't take this. He can't stand the fact that somebody would talk about his mom in that way. So he summons his brother from the depths of hell, who comes up in a giant semi-truck. I don't understand how this works. How does his brother do this? I don't get it. But either way, his brother's there, and they make Mordecai and Rigby eat a beautiful picture of their mom that has been grilled. And they make them eat the picture and kiss the picture, and it turns out it was just a picture of Muscle Man's ass. Yeah. What a prank. What a funny prank. It is so good. It highlights Muscle Man's character so well. And this was a great first episode to focus around Muscle Man. And I personally think it's one of the funniest episodes in the entire series. It's just so good. I just love all of the bits with the My Mom jokes. Mordecai just progressively getting more and more sick of it. Them actually having a good time together. And then just him having the biggest overreaction ever just to make them kiss a picture of his ass. Cinema. And number 9 is the episode But I Have a Receipt, and in this episode Mordecai and Rigby buy the Realm of Darthon, what is supposed to be the most popular, hyped up board game you could ever play. And it turns out to be super lame because I guess they don't really like D&D stuff, so they're not super into it. Nobody's into it, so they go to the store to get a refund, except there are no refunds on a open game, which honestly makes no sense because how do you know if you like the game if you haven't played it yet? So why can't you get a refund? Either way, we get this entire just multiple scenes where they're trying to tell everybody that the game sucks. They're showing them how lame the characters are, telling them that the rules suck, dressing up as like the characters from the game, and it's just looking horrible. They're just making nobody want to buy the game. So the business owner, the like game store owner, comes out with a helmet on and sucks them into the realm of Darthon to teach them a lesson that the game is actually super cool, and they have to battle all of these monsters. They summon their friends to help them. They're battling all these monsters. It's actually really cool. They all have unique weapons. They all dress super cool. They have awesome stuff. The realm of Darthon is actually looking pretty sick. And then they actually have to fight Darthon. He gets rid of Benson, Pops, and Skips, sends them away, and they have to fight Darthon using their imaginations. Darthon is able to send weird things at them, but they're able to counteract it by just saying things. They're just running at each other, sending kittens at each other, plushies at each other, a giant skeleton monster, weird things left and right, and they eventually get all the way to him, and they're able to create an immunity sword that's immune to all rule changes, stab it into Darthon's chest. And then we get a very just comedic moment where it cuts to the real world and the dude just has a ruler stuck in his chest. And yeah.
Oh, dude, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Here's your refund.
No, it's cool. You should...
I feel so bad for this guy. I mean, he should have just given them a refund. It was already going too far. But I don't think he deserved to have a ruler stuck in his chest. I mean, I'm pretty sure that that's deep in there. I mean, yes, he drives home, but I'm pretty sure maybe he just went home and died because, whew, that didn't look too good. He looked like he was suffering with a ruler in his chest. But overall, this episode was just a lot of fun, and there wasn't really a dull moment throughout the entire thing. Everything with Rigby trying to just show everybody that the game sucks, all of the stuff actually in the realm of Darthon, it was all very solid, and there just wasn't a boring moment throughout the entire episode. That's why it's ranking decently high on the list. And number 8 is the episode A Bunch of Baby Ducks, and in this episode, Mordecai and Rigby find a bunch of baby ducks in a fountain that they're supposed to be cleaning, you know, taking care of it, and these baby ducks imprint on Rigby. They love Rigby, they want Rigby, so they start following them around, doing all the things that they're doing.
Get away from me!
Oh, look, now they're copying you.
Playing video games, going, oh, doing skate tricks. They're just some super cool baby ducks. Benson doesn't want baby ducks in the house. He doesn't like them, so they have to try to figure out a way to get rid of the baby ducks. They take them to the pet store, and they just start harassing every other animal. They beat a snake to death. Start attacking a puppy because they're just doing all this step off stuff that Rigby is doing. It's just so funny watching the baby ducks just become horrible, violent creatures because of Rigby's influence. It's great. So they decide that they're just going to try and get rid of the baby ducks by just like having them at the park, and this guy in this weird truck shows up to try and take them. And well, they don't like this guy. Not at all. He seems very weird. And this guy steals the baby ducks, and the mom eventually shows up to get the baby ducks, and Mordecai and Rigby and the mom have to go and try to get the baby ducks back, and they get on the garbage truck. It's just this awesome brawl, and the guy starts to attack the baby duck's mom, and that's when they pump their fists and turn into this giant buff duck man. Why? Why? How can they do this? I don't care though. I love it so much. And they just tell him to step off, literally killing him right there. And the baby ducks go on with their mom, and boom, that's the entire episode. And this is just such a classic episode. It's a episode that I will always think about fondly. I mean, who would think a bunch of baby ducks would be able to turn into this giant buff man at the end? That was such an amazing twist, and it was so good. I mean, I know the baby ducks are special, but that special, who could have possibly known? It is such a great episode, and it will always be one of my favorites. Number 7 is the episode Really Real Wrestling, and in this episode, Mordecai and Rigby are super into like WWE style, like fake scripted wrestling. They're super into it until eventually Pops comes and finds them, and he's like, "You guys like wrestling? Well, let's wrestle each other." So they start going at it. Pops is actually able to throw some real wrestling moves, hits them with some really cool shots. A single leg takes Mordecai down, except Mordecai's all like, "Pretty impressive, Pops, but you forgot about one thing." Tags in Rigby, and Rigby just elbow drops onto Pops' spine.
And go!
Impressive, Pops. But you forgot about this, Rigby.
Breaks his spine, literally leaves him crippled, and Benson walks in and he's like, "What are you guys doing?" And so Mordecai and Rigby and Pops aren't able to go to Wrestle Frazzle tonight because Benson says that they're all staying here. Mordecai and Rigby have to make sure that Pops doesn't get out, and Pops has to stay there. But Pops is able to trick them, literally crawling on his stomach all the way down to his car, and goes to Wrestle Frazzle. And Mordecai and Rigby do the same thing. They also sneak out to the event, and Pops is flying there in his flying car, and a huge head wrestler shows up, and Pops just lands on top of him, crushing him instantly, and takes his place in the wrestling event. Mordecai and Rigby are there, and they see Pops, and they're like, "Pops, what are you doing here?" And Pops is like, "Oh, jolly good show. I'm here for some wrestling, Mordecai and Rigby." And so Mordecai and Rigby are all like, "But Pops, it's fake. You can't go in there. You don't know how to do this." And the wrestler hears Mordecai say this, and they just start beating them, senselessly beating Mordecai and Rigby just nonstop, pulling them into the ring, showing them that this wrestling is actually real.
It's fake?
No.
How about you, little dude? This seem fake to you?
And Pops goes in there, tries to get on the ladder to bring the title down, and they knock him off the ladder, and Pops' spine is fixed and starts hitting some actual wrestling moves on them, just doing suplexes and headlocks, and it's just so good. As a wrestler, I love it so much, and it's so good, and this episode is just such a classic. They win the titles in the end, they go home as champions, and Hugehead is just hiding in the bushes waiting for revenge on Pops that we actually get paid off like 3 or 4 seasons later. Yeah, super crazy, but a great episode of regular show. The beginning of it is just so funny with them breaking Pops' spine. That's so good. Pops sneaking out was amazing. And then that epic wrestling match at the end was just so good with Pops taking them down, destroying them. Loved it so much. Such a classic regular show episode. And number 6 is the episode Brain Eraser. And do you want to see Pops' wriggly old man balls? Well, nobody really does. Nobody wants to see that. But unfortunately for Mordecai, this is what he gets to see. He accidentally walks in on Pops when he's going to give him his mustache monthly, and he sees Pops naked. He sees his junk mail, according to Rigby, and
I tried not to look and just give him the magazine, but I saw
His junk mail.
this makes Mordecai's life ruined. All he could see every time he opens his eyes, every time he closes his eyes, is naked Pops. They try doing everything possible to take this off of his mind, but they can't do it. They just can't make him unsee that. So they eventually go to this video store, and they find this guy that is watching Planet Chaser Starlight Excellent all day, every day.
Is it good? I watch Planet Chaser Starlight Excellent all day, every day. All day, every day.
And I mean that, like he's watching Planet Chaser Starlight Excellent all day, every day. So Rigby's like, this might work. So he plays the tape in front of Mordecai, and this like sucks Mordecai's eyes out of him, like sucks tape out of his eyes. And Mordecai is just lost in this Planet Chaser Starlight Excellent world for forever. He's just a mindless, like brain dead guy. Rigby tries taking him out to do all of this fun stuff, and Mordecai's just brain dead. So Rigby goes to Skips, and they have to go into there to save Rigby and pull him out of there and get rid of the Naked Pops thing. And they go in there, and of course Mordecai is still thinking of it, so they have to chase down Naked Pops the memory and put a towel on him to get rid of the memory from Mordecai forever. So they're inside of this tape chasing down Pops. It's such a great funny sequence of just Naked Pops running away from them. They're eventually able to catch him, put a towel on him, and they're like, yes, finally they go out of this world. It's great, they're finally free. And then Benson accidentally drops his towel and we get to see his gumballs. And
I can't even take a shower around here without you guys screwing things up.
that's the end of the episode. Such a phenomenal episode. It's so funny, such a interesting plot line. It honestly reminds me of that Gumball episode where he kisses Granny JoJo called The Kiss, except this is that same type of plot but done extremely well and is actually just so funny. I love it so much. This is a top tier regular show episode. Coming in at number 5 is the episode This Is My Jam, yet another regular show classic featuring Summertime Lovin'. Mordecai and Rigby are up on the roof cleaning out the gutters, and Rigby stumbles upon Summertime Lovin', a song that he thinks that he loves that was hype as hell. Mordecai's like, oh, that song sucks. So they go to listen to it, and Rigby's like, yeah!
Through the night, it's summertime and lovin', so lovin' in the summertime. Summertime and lovin', oh baby, why you
Okay, this song's lame.
Well, this song sucks. This song's horrible, but it gets stuck in Rigby's head, and he just gets progressively worse as the time goes on. He can't stop singing it. He can't stop at any cost, and it eventually literally takes over his body and is just like singing from him against his will. It's so funny.
Hold still.
And Rigby eventually tries to get rid of it. He thinks it's gone. He thinks it leaves his body. And then it actually just has mass in the physical world. It is a cassette tape in the real world with sunglasses and is just following everybody around singing Summertime Lovin'. Everybody is just so sick of it, so they have to write their own catchy tune to fight Summertime Lovin', and it's just so good. Aw snap. Aw snap. Come to our macaroni party so we could take a nap.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Aw snap, aw snap. Come to our macaroni party, we'll take a nap. Aw snap.
We get 2 hype songs from this episode. They have a ultimate music battle at the end, and it's so fire. The music battle is just so good. It's so funny. Everything with Rigby getting addicted to this song. It's all just peak regular show.
Aw snap, aw snap. Come to our macaroni party, we'll take a nap. Aw snap, aw snap.
It has everything you'd want in a regular show episode. An awesome battle, funny moments, great songs, great Benson moment pulling out his drums. I love it so much. It's such a fire episode. Number 4 is the episode Karaoke video, and this also has everything you could possibly need in a regular show episode. It's got an amazing brawl, an amazing song, some great character stuff. We get every single character featured in this episode, and it's just so good. The episode opens with Mordecai and Rigby just jamming out at this karaoke bar, singing it up. Everybody loves it, and they wake up the next day and they're like, dude, we're so cool, we're so awesome, we gotta rewatch that night. And they actually kept the tape. They got an extra one because they just did that good. They're watching the tape and they realize that they were horrible people and made fun of all of their friends. They call Benson a loser. They make fun of Skips. They make fun of all of their friends. And unfortunately for them, Benson is going to have a mandatory karaoke night. Yep, everybody has to have fun at karaoke. That's a rule now. If you don't show up, you're fired. So Mordecai and Rigby have to find a way to get this tape back from the karaoke bar owner, even though the karaoke bar owner is going to play it every single night as an opening at the karaoke bar. And they're about to play that tape, that super embarrassing tape where Mordecai and Rigby are going to ruin their lives, ruin all of their friendships. And that's when Mordecai and Rigby sneak in there, grab the tape, pull it out, and the guy's all like, oh no, Pops, come up here and sing Footloose.
Been working so hard. I'm punching my card.
And this kicks on one of the best fights in all of regular show, the karaoke fight. Pop singing Footloose, everybody fighting over this tape, Mordecai and Rigby, the karaoke bar owner, the bouncer, all fighting over this tape while we get Pop singing Footloose in the background.
This town. Tonight I gotta cut loose.
What else could I possibly need in my life? Obviously, nothing. I don't need anything else in my life. It's just so good. This eventually sneaks out into the main floor and it turns into a brawl between everybody at the karaoke bar.
Get back. Come on before we crack loose.
Everyone's fighting, all of the park guys, all of the regular people. It's just such a good fight with such good visuals. Footloose in the background. It's so good. This ranks up this high on the list mainly just because of this awesome fight, this awesome conclusion, the awesome song. Just everything in this episode is just so good. It's so fire. I love it so much. And number 3 is the episode Grave Sites, and every show eventually does a zombie episode, but Regular Show did it so much justice and did it so good, and this is one of the best episodes in the entire series. It's just so fire. In this episode, the park needs to rack up some money, it needs to rack up some cash, and Benson is opening it to all offers, any suggestions to make some money, and Mordecai and Rigby are all like, let's have a zombie movie night in the graveyard, it'll be so cool, we'll make so much money, a horror movie in the graveyard, that sounds awesome. And Benson's like, that could actually work, you guys might earn that paid day off. Mordecai and Rigby are going through it. They're trying to find the best movie, the best projector to have this awesome movie night, and they eventually get Zombocalypse 3D, this really strange movie projector, and they go to play it at the park, and that's when things get a little bit chaotic, when the movie stops playing for a second, and things get a little bit messed up.
Dude, why isn't it working?
And they try to put back in the tape, but Rigby spits in it, and this causes lasers to shoot out everywhere, and all of the zombies in the graveyard to rise up, and everybody in the park, well, everybody who's not watching the movie, they all think that the zombies are part of the movie. They have to fight all of the zombies using the sports equipment that Muscle Man brought, and it's just such a cool fight scene. The way they use all the sports equipment is just awesome. The discus to the face.
Whoa! Did you see that zombie take a discus to the face?
The javelin spear that Skips is using to impale all of them like a kebab. All of it is so good, and the entire fight scene is just paralleling the movie at the same time, so whatever is happening in the movie is also happening at the park, and it's just so good. And not to mention, the movie is a Ash William reference, a Evil Dead reference, and
triggered the deadly necrovirus and took everything I ever knew. Batter up.
it's just so good. It's so fire to go along with this fire episode. I love it so much. This fight is so cool, and the climax, they have to fight this giant buff zombie who's just beating Skips' ass, and then they have to drive the cart into him. Such a cool fight scene. It's just so awesome. This episode is just so epic, and that's why it ranks so high on this list. And coming in at number 2 is the episode High Score, and this episode is just so fire. I love it so much. It's all about Mordecai and Rigby's quest for respect. They're sick of getting bags of money as pay. They want real paychecks. They want respect from everyone around them. They feel like they deserve it. They go to the coffee shop, and this is where their quest for respect truly begins. They find this arcade machine, Broken Bones. These 2 kids are playing it, and they go up against them, and they get absolutely destroyed by these kids. But they're not going to take that lying down. They start going up against every single other person in the coffee shop, anybody who comes in there, and they just start dominating all of the competition, beating every single person in Broken Bones, cementing their skill, earning a little bit of respect, earning a crowd around them.
Because you're gonna get stopped.
To show off how good they are at Broken Bones. And that's when those 2 little kids come back, and they have a rematch, a super intense rematch where they're just going at it, Broken Bones left and right. And just to mention, this video game actually seems pretty cool. It's just going on a bike doing a bunch of stunt tricks. It looks awesome. It looks like a lot of fun, and Mordecai and Rigby are able to beat these kids after a super awesome montage, super good song in the background. It's all so good, and they're able to beat the high score on the arcade machine. And the high score holder was GBF, and that's when the sky just beams down of light, and that's when giant bearded face comes out of that light, and it's GBF, Garrett Bobby Ferguson. And I
It's a giant bearded face!
love Garrett Bobby Ferguson so much. He's one of my favorite villains in the entire series. I can't get over him. He's so good. And Mordecai and Rigby go against GBF to try and earn that high score in a one-on-one match. Well, 1-on-2. Mordecai and Rigby count as one person, though. And they go against each other, trying to claim that high score, just getting more and more broken bones. It's such a awesome sequence. Great music, just so good. An awesome fight until Garrett Bobby Ferguson tricks them when Mordecai and Rigby are winning. He says that he lost everything because of this game. The high score is the only thing that he has, and he has to keep it. So they throw the match, and that's when Garrett Bobby Ferguson just starts laughing maniacally. And he's like, I don't care about this game. I don't even have a wife. I never got married. I just think this is a hobby, and I need this high score. And so he takes the lead, and Mordecai and Rigby actually have one more turn. They start going at it. They start trying to beat the record. Garrett Bobby Ferguson is literally physically fighting them now, and they're able to push him back, kick him in the chin.
My chin!
and they're able to beat the high score and defeat Garrett Bobby Ferguson. And just the cherry on top of it all, he explodes. He just screams no and explodes. This episode will always be iconic for regular show for me and always be synonymous with this show for me. I feel like if you go up to random people in the street and ask them maybe about a regular show episode, this might definitely be one of the episodes that they talk about because it's just that good. And not to mention it had real life effects with Billy Mitchell suing regular show because he thought Garrett Bobby Ferguson was a parody of him, and that's just so funny. Thank you, Billy Mitchell. Thank you for making this episode even better by suing them over. And coming in at number 1, my favorite episode in all of regular show and the best episode in season 2 has to be Rage Against the TV. Everything about this episode is exactly why I love regular show so much. An amazing, interesting premise with an incredible fight, incredible comedy, and a great ending. It's all just so good from beginning to end. There is so much to love about it. It's all about Mordecai and Rigby playing this video game, and they eventually get all the way to the final boss, the Hammer. And the thing about the Hammer is, nobody beats the Hammer. Everybody knows this. Nobody has ever defeated the Hammer, and Mordecai and Rigby are actually getting a pretty good go at it. They're losing their lives, but they find out that his weakness is furniture. And right when they're destroying him, they're about to beat him, the game freezes for some reason and it turns off, but every time they hit it, it's able to come back on, but they're just not going to be able to beat it while it's just broken like this. There's just no way. So they have to figure out a way to get a new TV, keep the game running, and fight and beat the Hammer. They tell Muscle Man about this, but he does not believe them, even in the slightest, because again, nobody beats the Hammer. Muscle Man eventually agrees to give them their TV though, reluctantly, and he just drops it and destroys it and breaks it, so that option's pretty much gone.
Oh, this is gonna be hilarious!
And they eventually go to this video store where they meet Jimmy. Come on, Jimmy.
Oh, man. Jimmy. Come on, Jimmy.
And Muscle Man just pressures this guy to give them a TV for free because they can't afford any other TV. And it's just this really old retro white TV that just looks super out of place here. And they eventually get it. Jimmy gives it to them just for a little bit. And they take it back to the house and everybody is there to watch this event, watch them potentially beat the Hammer. And they eventually plug everything in. It seems like it's going to work. It seems like they're going to fight the Hammer. And the power goes out for a second. And that's when the transformation begins. And the Hammer begins to form himself from the video game console, the TV. He stands up. Muscle Man explains what everyone is thinking so beautifully. Dudes, it's the Hammer, take my picture. And he runs up and gets his titties slapped and then just hit in the face and drop kicked.
Dudes, take my picture. Oh no, bro.
Oh, I love it so much. And this is when the incredible fight scene begins. They're just trying to lay into the Hammer and they can't do anything to him because they're not thinking about his weakness, and he's just destroying them, like beating the crap out of everyone there. Until they eventually do remember that his weakness is furniture, but not before Jimmy comes and he's like, Muscle Man, I got fired from my job for giving you that TV. Can I have a place to stay? And while he's saying it, the Hammer is charging up a literal energy blast and blasts it at Jimmy of all people, and he goes flying and literally dies and explodes.
What the?
Rip Jimmy. Poor Jimmy, man. Why him of all people? But either way, they start using furniture on him, start hitting him with dressers, with the cabinets, everything they could find. Skips literally picks up a washing machine and starts beating him to death with it. The Hammer's just on his final rope, but he stands up because they're out of furniture. They eventually see one chair as the Hammer spreads his legs wide. He's gonna attack Skips. They throw him the chair. He lands on it. Boom! The Hammer crushes his balls. They grab the controllers and they're able to finish the game on the TV, and the Hammer is defeated. Peak regular show episode. It has the perfect fight, one of my favorite fights in the entire series. Such a great and interesting premise for a video game episode. Just the idea of a video game that getting frozen and they have to go on this entire journey to get a new TV, and then the video game comes to life and it's a final video game boss. It is just so good, and there's not a single moment that I dislike in the entire episode. All of it is entertaining, every single part of it. There's no moment where I'm like looking away. This is one of my favorite episodes to rewatch in general, and that's why it's my favorite episode in all of regular show and the best out of season Season 2. Rage Against the TV is just the absolute best. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe for more content just like this. I really hope you enjoy these videos. If you don't, if there's any nitpicks that you have about it, if you don't like me saying it's so good, it's so funny, I don't know, that's kind of a nitpick about myself because I just default to saying this is so funny, this is so good, I like this so much, this is peak. And it's just because I love all these episodes so much that it's hard for me to describe them in different ways because they are truly all so funny and just peak episodes. So it's hard. Maybe I should like learn on my lingo a little bit, but either way, I still hope you really enjoy these videos because I'm trying my best, trying to pump all this content out as soon as possible and still give you very good quality content. So yeah, I hope you're enjoying all this stuff. Got many more parts and many more videos on the way. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.